Welcome to the roundtable. Swamiji, Dr. Radhakrishnan and Prasanna, very happy to have you all on this roundtable. The idea is we speak a lot about youth. India is one of the youngest countries in the world. The idea was to get all of you together and talk about finding purpose in life for our young India. There's so much spoken about it. Everybody are talking about how can youth find the purpose, what are we going to do to enable them, and each of you work with youth extensively. So I thought, why not have your perspectives and put it across to millions of youth watching this roundtable. So I'm going to start off with Swamiji. You are someone who work with youth extensively. You meet so many people from across the world. You are literally the globetrotter. And people connect with you so much because the language that you speak and the anecdotes that you give, the metaphors that you give is something that today's people can understand. Swamiji, what has been your experience in the past decade or so that you've been working extensively with the youth? How have you seen them change? Is there anything that you see with today's youth when compared to 10 years back?
Situations keep on changing, as you know. And of course, technology changes, etc. But from our experience, I can tell. I remember my father telling me once, you youth don't even do half the things, the naughty things that we did.
Oh my God.
No? So it's not like, things have changed as far as the youth are concerned. Yeah, situations change. And therefore, situational problems that arise, that keep on changing. But as far as youth are concerned, they were always the same, they are the same, and they shall be the same. And once we were youth, whom people said that the world is going to get doomed with them,
right.
Today the parents who are youth are saying that about their
Today's parents will tell the next generation the same. Wonderful. Dr. Radhakrishnan, you have worked with leaders across the world. You motivate people, you mentor people, and you're also fondly called as Chanakya Pillai because you've extensively studied Arthashastra. So you worked with youth extensively, right? So what is your perspective on them? Today, when you go and talk to somebody in terms of motivating them or mentoring them, what is the behavioral change that you've seen?
So I would say that, I was lucky. हम तो बच गए because in my youth days I was part of the Chinmaya Yuva Kendra.
Right.
And let me tell you, I did not understand the value till I was out of my youth days.
Right.
And I'll tell you, see, as Swamiji was rightly pointing out, we were almost like very well protected with the values in our house and the Chinmaya mission that I was brought up in. But let me tell you, frankly, if you go out to the real world, and as you said, when you go across the globe, the youth are the same. Same problems, lacking direction. Two words that you spoke about, leadership and mentorship, they are interconnected. So the youth thinks about leading in their own respective fields, maybe a career where they want to be a leader or in a hobby that they pursue. They can achieve massive success, but without mentorship, and I would specify spiritual mentorship, they can be lost. And this is where the purpose comes in. I remember in my college days, I used to be a vivid reader, reading a lot of books. And one author, apart from Gurudev and Swami Vivekananda, who inspired me, was Richard Bach.
Right.
And one of his books had a very beautiful quotation. The only purpose of life is to have a purpose.
Oh, nice.
So I think every generation will have their challenges and advantages.
True.
They're all the same. But if the young boys and girls, every individual can find a purpose in their life, and as Swami Vivekananda put it, dedicate the whole life to that purpose, then you're a leader of the masses.
Right. I'll come to finding the purpose bit in a bit. Prasanna, you passed out of film school. You were a part of Chinmaya Mission school as well. In 2009, you came out of film school, right? And you've done two beautiful films, Kalyana Samayal Sadham and Shubh Mangal Savdhaan. And the topic that you took for your first film was something that today's youth face as well, right? We're talking about an issue that people can't openly talk to their parents about or friends about.
Taboo.
What was the thought behind coming up with this idea, and why this film is your first one?
I think what in that sense, what defines youth for me is questioning. It is the first transition from a place where my father and mother is the world, and they are the heroes, hopefully, if you're having good parents. Then you feel like my parents are the world, and if they don't know anything, if they know something, then it's worth knowing. if they know, there's nothing that they don't know. So they're my gods. To suddenly seeing the world outside. So I think that youth, what you're talking about, the teenager youth, is when you have when you suddenly question your home vis-a-vis the world. And if there is going to be a huge gap between the two, obviously you get panicky.
Yes.
It's like for 10 years or 12 years or 13 years, you've been taught something. So now the home can be a home can be a country.
Correct.
For people who are traveling outside and see certain things. So I think as a parent also now, of a 9-year-old boy and a 5-year-old boy, and me and my wife constantly are aware of this fact, that we have to give them a sense of home, but the home should also not alienate them.
Correct.
It should protect them, but it should not make them feel that we are spinning a yarn to protect them, and then
it's two different worlds.
It's two different worlds. It can be two different worlds, but I feel as a parent we should not mollycoddle them into thinking.
Correct.
I think we should. So this, to answer your question, my movie came from my own youth of wanting to question. So there were always taboos that we were told, don't talk about this.
Correct.
And always that attracts the youth. So that's why I made my first film, Kalyana Samal Sadham in Tamil and Shubh Mangal Savdhaan, I remade in Hindi, with that one question which nobody is allowed. So I always was finding that if somebody addresses the elephant in the room, then everybody just keeps quiet in the Indian family system.
Yeah.
We should not talk about it. But then there is that elephant in the room. We have too many elephants in the room. And only somebody like Gurudev who could answer. So people who have answers or who are on a quest themselves are not afraid of questions.
Absolutely.
They will invite questions, and if they don't know the answer, they'll say, we'll find out together.
Correct.
But I think that was exciting to me. And for me, youth is defined by the questioning in us. So I think if you are always questioning, even at the age of 80, you'll be a youngster.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like Swamiji, I always find he's always smiling, and as a kid, I've seen him talk. He's always been like a child because he always questions and he encourages questioning.
There's a quest.
It's very interactive.
Very interactive. Swamiji, spiritual mentorship is something that we were talking about, and today that's what is lacking for today's youth, right? They don't have a guru, or they don't have that spiritual master looking up to, finding answers. So when people come to you, because when you speak to young students or schools and colleges that you speak, are they all seeking for spiritual mentors now? Do they know the value of it?
See, you don't seek for a spiritual mentor, you seek for answers. Right? And wherever you get it from, you will have your quest, your seeking in that direction. So wherever they get their answers, and yes, the science of spirituality, and if you have, the lineage of Puja Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda himself was such a questioner. And therefore found answers, and therefore appreciated every question that any one of us asked him on any topic whatsoever, and he would be able to answer you, and true to the spirit of the Bhagavad Gita itself, where after Krishna giving all the logic and explanation, tells Arjuna, now you think for yourself and you do it. When you give that kind of freedom to the youth to understand for themselves, appreciate what they are hearing, and process it within themselves and find answers, from their life experiences as guided by the scriptures, as guided by the mentors in life. So anyone from your grandparents to your parents to teachers in school, coaches, sports coaches, your colleagues in your office can be a mentor to you. But yes, main life's questions about the mind, our interaction with the world, the nature of ourselves, the world, the spiritual science has pointed out, from time immemorial, and that there's nothing new or old about it.
True.
It's there. It's the truth, and truth exists in all periods of time.
Absolutely. And Prasanna, you did On a Quest. That was such a beautiful opportunity for you to create that very beautiful film and seen that, and it's so pure. How did your life change while doing it, or what happened to you when you did that?
Actually, it came at a time. I think it was at a time which was very healing for me. Because that was the transition from I had done Kalyana Samal Sadham. I was processing the success of that, and I was supposed to do the film in Hindi.
Correct.
And there was about a year and a half, 2 year journey of transitioning that with the right script. So I found a producer in Anand Rai. But there was this huge shift for me from, being this guy who, has grown up with a certain work ethic and a certain value system. and preserving that in my first film, because it was a small independent film.
Correct.
And then now I'm going to the world of Bollywood. You know? So this kind of, I almost felt like my Gurudev was like sitting next to me and, you know, like guiding me through this film. So it came at the right time. And also I think it was very healing for me. It was also, it was like I was again revising all the textbooks before going for the board exam, you know, and with the master himself, you know, every scene, every dialogue, every frame, you know, I was doing it, you know, so it was like a 1 year revision for me before, almost like, you know, now launching you in a bigger scale, but now don't forget this, you know. So that was at a very right time, and I think it made me a much calmer person, much more accepting, much more, you know, a lot of it is theory until you do it yourself. You have to embody it. You know, the theory is just there, you know, but you have to go through life experiences. So for me, On a Quest calmed me, healed me, and proved to me that, like Swamiji says, you know, spiritual science, it is a science.
Right.
Spirituality is a science because it deals with uplifting your spirit, and a spirit is real. So you feel down. So today a lot of people are having depression, clinical depression. There's talks of mental health. You know, you need that order to process all the madness.
Right.
And On a Quest was that for me.
It was, I mean, it's wonderful that you got an opportunity to do that.
It was just a godsend.
And Swamiji, purpose. Now, one of the most Google search questions from youth is, how do I find my purpose? You know, the most overrated question probably in the world, but there is no one fixed answer. When somebody comes and asks you, how do I find a purpose in life? What would you tell them?
Really speaking, do we do anything without a purpose?
Absolutely.
If I were to just move my hands like this, you'd call me a madman.
Yeah.
If I say there was a fly or a mosquito, it makes sense.
Correct.
See, everything we do is with a purpose. And we have to be just honest with ourselves. What is our purpose? Now, just to, if you're taking up a career or a job, what is the primary purpose? Let's not say job satisfaction. Let us not say, to do something great for the world.
To earn the money, pay the bills.
First of all, it is for your livelihood.
Yeah.
So we must be very clear what is the purpose. We don't do anything without a purpose.
Absolutely.
So first know what is the purpose for which you are doing what you are doing. To find a higher purpose, to make something greater and nobler the purpose of your life, that's the second part of it.
Right.
So there's nothing that we do without a purpose. I mean, you go to a restaurant to eat. Is it for health or is it for enjoyment? Right?
Correct.
We know it is for enjoyment.
Correct.
Then we are expecting that after eating it, I maintain my six-pack abs.
It won't happen.
It won't happen, no? So if you want a six-pack ab, right, then you have to eat accordingly. So
and this is a purpose.
Yeah, so eating becomes the means then, and health or whatever good looks becomes your... Now to talk about even relationship, when people get into a relationship, is it because she was beautiful or he was handsome?
Not completely.
No. So, Or was it that you have to live your life with this person throughout, and whether you're compatible, not compatible, these are not things that we start off with.
Correct.
So we must be very clear what is the purpose for which we are doing what we are doing right now first. Then recognize what is a greater purpose that can be achieved through what I am doing, whether it's a career, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a certain lifestyle. What is a greater purpose behind it? And one must ask oneself, what is it that I want to do with my life?
True.
Now, what is the impact that I want from my life to the world around me?
True.
Then we will find our
Purpose.
higher purpose.
Higher purpose.
Behind what we are doing. Of course, proper understanding is of your own swabhava, your own nature. And with that, when you do your action, and then see that what greater impact you can have, what greater benefit you can have, other than just for yourself. This doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice yourself.
Correct.
But besides what I am gaining, that same work, with a little change of attitude, with a higher purpose, can have a greater impact on
That's so
the
true.
world and a greater sense of fulfillment. Higher and nobler your purpose, greater is the fulfillment that you feel.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very well said. Dr. Radhakrishnan, one thing that let's talk about the corporate youngsters, right? We're talking about people who've just out of graduation, college, they've started their careers, they are in their first 10 years, say 20 to 30. When you go to offices today, corporates today, mentor and stuff, what is that one thing that you see consistent as an issue in today's corporate youth? What do you think that should be changed?
So there are basically 3 stages for the youth in the corporate world. The first stage is then when they want to get into the corporate world. The only hope is to get good academic marks, get the right placement. And they struggle a lot for that. And most of the B schools will prepare you with a finishing school, how to prepare for an interview. That's a challenge.
Yeah.
And let's say all of them get placed.
Yeah.
The second challenge is tuning with the boss.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because your first job may be the highest paying salary in the class, but maybe the biggest company that you wanted to aspire and work for. But there becomes a gap because the boss or the seniors who are above you, there's a big gap between them. So the struggle is tuning with the boss. The third is very interesting stage when you have maybe 10 years of working experience and you become a boss.
Ah.
And you are not old, you're not 50s, you're still in your 30s.
Young leaders. And then comes a young generation below you. True.
Now comes the real question, can you inspire them? Because then it's not about salaries, it's not just about targets.
Yeah.
But then the organization grows with those young leaders.
Correct.
So I think 3 stages, 3 different challenges.
Correct. Absolutely. And Prasanna, you come from the entertainment industry, and there is millions of youngsters who come into this industry wanting to make it. I see this in Bombay, where you throw a stone, there is either an aspiring filmmaker, aspiring musician, or an aspiring actor.
Correct.
There's so many people wanting to come to this world. So when you work with youth from the entertainment industry, do you find, are they clear about what they want in life?
Actually, I feel they are very clear about what they want, but that's not what they say they want. They're actually very clear. Most of them want the fame and the glamour.
Correct.
But they're actually very clear about it. But that's not what they work. That's not what they're saying, even to themselves. And like Swamiji said, that's where I feel the gap happens.
Yeah.
It's quite all right. I feel that whatever your purpose in life or whatever, if you're clear, you work hard, you fail, you work hard, you fail, you get that. But that is where I said, the Bhagavad Gita way or the Zen way of looking at things, that, the process is the goal. If you have to become a filmmaker, it's a minimum 10-year journey.
Correct.
So if you're not going to enjoy that 10-year journey at every day, like setting up the lights, checking the sound, if that's not going to make you happy, you're going to have a very tough time, because that's what 90% of it is the actual prep.
Correct.
And if you're thinking, so it depends, they're actually clear what they want. It's that they're not admitting that this is what they want. But once they admit that, then you can guide them.
Right.
Then you can say, okay, if that is what you want, then you become an influencer on Instagram today.
Fame comes along with it.
You get fame. In fact, I feel today with social media fame, I think it actually helps people like us to filter out. Because if you want fame, you will get it. At home, you do the steps, and that's also hard work.
That's also hard.
You will get that. But if you want to make a film, you want to be a storyteller, you want to be an actor, then you go through that path. Then the fame may come, the fame may not come. So I think it's like Swamiji said, it's about clarity of purpose. But I get what you're saying in terms of, I think for them, a lot of people obviously go only for the superficial, what they see, outside. So constantly I try to mentor, I try to guide them, give them positivity. Also, having come into the industry, it's a long journey. So wherever possible, you try to address their mental health. Sometimes when I get a call from somebody I know who's struggling, who's trying, I always remember that I was like that.
Correct.
Wow.
So sometimes people just don't pick up calls, they ghost them, they don't answer, they talk rudely. Then sometimes I pick up a call when, oh God, this guy has been calling me 10 times. I've told him to give a meeting. One way of responding is that, I'm so great that I have this guy. No, it's your duty to help that guy, because you were one day in that position. So the bare minimum you do is to talk, and it could be a 1-minute talk that could, how do you know that guy was not suicidal that day?
Correct.
Maybe he was suicidal. Maybe your one call saved his life, his or her life.
Yeah.
And because cinema, more than any other thing, it just makes you so vulnerable.
Absolutely.
You are naked in so many ways. You know that your soul is bare. You give a shot, you give your life, and somebody says, "Hey, bakwas tha."
Yeah, yeah. After
No,
knowing
no, you're rejected.
year.
Go. 10 years of rejection, what can it do to a man? That time a director picks up and says, yeah, just come, we'll talk. That may save his life.
It's a ray of hope.
If nothing, it'll save something in you. You may have had a bad day.
Correct.
You may have had a very bad meeting, bad thing where you see, yaar, ye industry bahut kharab hai. Then you speak to a youngster and you see, yaar, this guy is exactly
so
me.
hopeful about it.
He's so hopeful.
Yeah.
This is just me. I needed that guy.
Yeah.
As much as probably he
There's
needed
so much
me.
give and take.
It is good. If you look at it this way, you will always be happy. You will always be positive through all the struggles.
Correct.
Because you will have somebody, then he will say, "Sir, man, I am also struggling. You know what? You are trying to get a meeting with me. I am trying to get a meeting with a superstar." Then both of you laugh and then you're happy. Acha, aise hi hai aapko bhi. Mera bhi aise hai. Acha, then I will probably live another day.
Absolutely.
I think this human level thing, forget the goal, forget day to day, every minute, are you hurting each other? Are you killing the spirit? I think that is very important to me as a person.
Correct.
And that is what I try to do.
Correct. Swamiji, we were talking about the purpose, like how Prasanna was mentioning. There are a lot of people that I meet in the entertainment industry where they want to become famous, they want to earn the money, they want success. But the process of how we said 10 years of setting the light, 10 years of checking the sound, 10 years of working hard below a director to understand and gain the knowledge, right? That a lot of people don't have. They all want it quickly, right? So one of the things that I want to ask on behalf of the youngsters is, how do I get patience? It's not that I don't want to, it's just that I'm impatient. I want it faster. Why am I not getting it? Why is somebody getting it in 2 years? Why is it taking 10 years for me? What do you say?
See, whatever values we have, they must be coupled with other values. Just as we said logic. Logic must be with empathy also. Compassion, kindness, inspiration. So same way, as far as the confidence that we have to reach our goal, the enthusiasm that we have to reach our goal, that drives us, towards our goal, naturally makes us a little bit impatient.
Correct.
But side by side, you must have perseverance. Because sometimes success is just around the corner.
Just around the corner, yes.
And we give up.
True.
That famous story that is said that one king, having lost 13 battles, was about to finally give up, and saw the spider trying to make its first leap to build the first the thread, the web, and tried and tried and tried and tried and tried and tried and tried, till finally that king told the spider, "Why don't you give up like me?" But fortunately, animals or creatures don't understand human language. And finally he saw that trying and trying, the spider made it happen. And that gave him the confidence, and that last battle after that which he fought, he succeeded. So this is the thing, we have to understand that for everything in life, doesn't mean it's going to take too long. But if your goal is clear to you, your purpose is good and noble, even if it's just livelihood, but if you keep on working sincerely, the results doesn't come by wishful thinking.
True.
It comes by what you put into the action. And everything has time. A seed of a pulse will sprout immediately.
Yeah.
The seed of a mango tree will take time.
Take its time. Everything has its time.
So what you want, you must have along with that. So confidence and perseverance should go together. When we hear the word patience, it seems it's like a long, but perseverance.
True.
Nice.
Not giving up kind of thing. Wonderful. On those lines, talking about the patient's perspective, another, I think like a tripod, right? So you need to have perseverance, you need to have the purpose or, what's your goal, but skill sets. You work with corporates quite a bit in terms of enhancing your skill sets with so much technological advancement happening today. Do people invest time in upgrading their skill sets because it's so important today?
In fact, it's the other way around. They're only investing on skill sets. That's where the tragedy is.
That's the tragedy.
For example, you go to a B school or any particular, what are you equipped with? Skill sets. What we are missing is the attitude.
Right.
And that's why what Swamiji said, the perseverance part of it.
Right.
So let's say, for example, I'm the best coder. That's a skill set I have. I may get placed.
Yeah.
But I know people from the best B schools being told to leave the company in 3 months. So they had the skill sets, they were the best academically, technically, but they don't, sorry, you're not a great team player.
Right.
And he or she may think I'm better than the boss because my skill sets are better. But the boss may not have the latest upgraded technological skill sets, but he or she may have the maturity. So I think it's very important.
Right, attitude.
Attitude is a very important factor. In fact, if you look at a full career graph, any person, he or she will only succeed finally because of the attitude, but skill set may not take you too far. Correct. I'll give a simple example. If you look at a company, and I work with a lot of IT companies as mentors, guides. So let's say, take a technology company or an IT company. Let's say they got 5 lakh employees. There are companies with that size in India. And you'll be surprised, almost 4.5 lakh employees of them will stagnate even before 50% of their career is done.
Oh my God.
Because they'll be only focusing on skill set.
Right.
A small team would go up. So out of 5 lakh people, only 50,000 would say, I have got growth. But that growth is not skill set. It's about teamwork, it's the way you manage finance.
Interpersonal skills.
Absolutely. And among those 50,000, maybe 5,000 or maybe in the long only 50 people will have leadership qualities.
Right.
So it's a funnel. So skills is a starting point, but it will not take you far.
It's not the only thing that will take you.
It is a starting point and a minimum requirement. So like, for example, in filmmaking, you require a technician, you require him technically sound.
Correct.
But is that the only thing? That's a base minimum.
Correct.
So if you are a cameraman, you need to know how to operate the camera. I can't be teaching you ABC. You better have that.
Correct.
But then, do you understand the other part of it? The colors, the framework. I'm sure both of you as directors. So I'm saying, yes, skill set is important, but prepare yourself more long-term beyond skill set.
Absolutely. And we're talking about skill sets in photography and cinematography. He's an amazing photographer himself. He loves taking photographs. So that's so true that it's something beyond. When you're taking a picture, of course, framing and lighting is two technically important things that a cinematographer has to put into place. But there's that honesty, there's the quest to kind of get something good. And his photographs are great. So talk about your photography a little bit. A lot of people, youths today, along with their mainstream career, they all have whatever they're doing for living and stuff like that. Whenever we talk to somebody, they say, my passion is photography, my passion is cricket, my passion is painting and stuff. I don't have much time to do that, but I love doing it and stuff. Not everybody is lucky to have their passion as career. Most of the people have to do things other than, paying bills. So when youth come and tell today about their passion and stuff, what do you have to tell them? You find time to take pictures despite traveling across the globe?
See, not necessarily that your passion can be your career. No? So, as a hobby, you can always do something. And in any of our spare time, we can keep our mind busy.
Correct.
Doing our hobby, which we enjoy. Actually, I never took to photography as a child or any such thing. Now everybody is a photographer because they've got their mobile or smartphones. So, I saw I was quite fascinated by the play of light, space, theme, natural expressions, etc. So I actually took to photography because I wanted something for our books, our our cassettes and CDs, which we are not getting, and most of them are just repeated
pictures. Yeah.
It doesn't give that emotion, it doesn't give that feeling. So I started capturing that also while I'm walking or while I'm doing something. I also cannot give any special time for that. So I took to that, and if you say as a movie maker that my photography is good, thank you for the compliment.
Yes, it is indeed. So everybody should, so basically what you're trying to say is that youngsters who are not able to take their passion as a career, spend some time doing it because it has ripple effects on your regular life as well.
Definitely, because we must have, because as I said, most career people take up for a livelihood, which is essential.
Yeah.
Later on, maybe even to make more money or
Correct.
to do certain things or higher purpose. But whether it is music, whether it is dance, whether it is photography, whether it is there's so many other aspects. It's not just art and music, but even people have passion for working with people.
Correct.
No? So maybe their job does not give them that kind of satisfaction.
Right.
But in their spare time, even in the mundane things that you do, that's where you should, live your passion.
Correct. Prasanna, has life experiences made you a better filmmaker?
Well, I don't know if I've become a better filmmaker, but life experiences make me want to be a filmmaker. So whether I'm good or bad or something, I don't know. I try to be good.
You are really good.
Thank you. But that's also because I exposed myself too little. I'm very clever. I did only 2 films and I kept quiet. And I take a long time to decide on my next film because of that. But yeah, of course, life is the reason for me to make films. So I'll tell you why I became a filmmaker. I became a filmmaker. I did not know that I was a filmmaker. I became a filmmaker. If films didn't exist, then I would have found some other form of storytelling. Like I would have been the guy in the cave after the hunting who would, put a light there and do shadows and talk. So I think that is a calling for me. I realized this when one day my dad was scolding me or my mom was scolding me, and then I was just zoning out and I was just thinking that bahut sara scoldings mil raha hai. So I thought of myself just coming out of this and seeing this as a movie, and I was making it very funny for myself. It was going on for some time. So now what do? You have to entertain yourself. So then, so I think somewhere the mundane comfort and privilege of middle class made things boring for me in everyday existence. So constantly I would make stories out of, so some boring classes going on, I'd imagine some aliens abducting the teacher, like the Calvin and Hobbes ka.
Yeah.
So that's it. So I mean, I'm so like you said, I'm very lucky that my personal, deficiency or quirk or whatever you call it, that thing in my front cortex of the brain, which is supposed to be for the imagination, whatever, that's probably an error in my coding. But luckily, that's a plus in my career.
True.
The fact that I'm able to visualize, pre-visualize stuff has also got me in trouble a lot with my wife, as a husband, as a father. So when we make plans, and oh no, don't do that, because you know what, if you go there, then you'll fall and die and wait,
It's not.
why are you saying wrong things in the beginning of a journey? So it has its pluses. Luckily, there's a career called filmmaking. So I often, I cannot thank my stars enough. I cannot thank destiny enough that I became a filmmaker. Because otherwise I would have been a very frustrated person. And I think while talking about passion, I think there is a very wrong portrayal of this word passion and choosing a career. So I feel what I've realized over time is that I have realized that this word passion is wrong, because like follow your passion. It gives an image that, like, Steve Jobs said, if you work in a job that you love, then you don't have to work every day. So that actually attracts a lot of people with a misunderstanding that, oh, so if I become a filmmaker or whatever it is, then I don't have to work.
Yeah.
It's fun. No. You will have days, you will have to do boring stuff. You will have to do boring stuff.
Work won't change.
That it is still work. What then, why do you have to follow? It's like, see, so I used to give this example, that if you love a girl, whether she is 1 kilometer away or 300 kilometers away will not matter to you.
Yeah.
Right? If it's 300 kilometers, you have to take a bus and an auto, you will still do it. No? So that is passion. So passion is something that makes the mundane interesting and worthwhile. Passion is not something that is going to make your day so beautiful every day. No.
Correct.
You will be frustrated. There are days when you're like, why the hell am I a filmmaker? What am I doing? You will feel pathetic. You will feel like a loser. But it will make it worthwhile.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
That
you
is
enjoy
passion.
the process.
Yes. If you love a woman, you want to be with her. If you love your parents, if you love your child, if you love your friend, jo bhi jagda ho raha hai, you will make up. Na?
You will make an effort.
You will make up next day and say, yaar, let's forget. I think that is what we should define as passion. That will give the correct perspective. Oh, then it is a path that's going to pain a lot. But in this path, if you love the job, you will be making it worthwhile.
Correct.
I think if that understanding, if we can say to the youth,
Yeah,
it'll give a correct picture.
Absolutely. Swamiji once told me that when I did my first film, and after that, I was trying to tell him the stories that I have in mind. COVID happened, so got a chance to write a lot of stories and stuff. So one thing that stayed with me was he told me that your first film, 10th film, 100th film, as long as you know why you're making it, as long as you know it might be pure entertainment, it might be to move mindsets, it might be to increase patriotism, whatever that your story is, keep that true to it and just stick to that when you're making that film. I think for filmmakers, most of the time we are very confused as to why we are telling this story, why we are making this film and stuff.
Sorry. Yeah. So the one thing adding to that is I read the book of Lagan. So when Ashutosh Gowarikar ji made it with Mr. Amir Khan, so in that it's called The Spirit of Lagan, they're making the book. There's also the documentary also correct, which is beautiful. So in the book, that line I'll never forget. So Ashutosh Gowarikar had made 2-3 films before, which had not worked very well, and they were supposedly commercial masala films for the audience, which he himself didn't believe in. So how Lagan came? He says that it came because I said, okay, now I'm anyway gone.
I might as well do something for
Let me as well do something for myself. Let me do one film, which even if nobody likes, let me like it.
Correct. Wow.
And then he found this another genius called Amir Khan. Both of them decided that forget the world, we like it, let's do it.
Correct.
If we are to sink in this, let us sing together. So that is the magic.
Correct.
Then of course we know the history of Lagan, how it became. But I think what you're saying is what Amir and Ashutosh, they did. And they, all the inspiring filmmakers you see, they're very clear why they're making the film.
Correct.
And it is very rarely about the money.
Correct.
And it is very rarely, if today the Amitabh Bachchan is working in the industry, if a Clint Eastwood, if a Spielberg is working in the industry, you really think they're doing it for fame and for money?
Yeah.
Because they've got enough and more of it.
More of it, yeah, absolutely. And Swamiji, you had mentioned to me once that in this process, there are so many distractions. It's very easy for us as human beings to get distracted. Something giving some more money, something giving us more fame, short term, this thing. To not get distracted and to make sure you put your heart where your hands are. That's something that you always tell the youth, and you've told us many, many times. So one thing today is about the distraction. So many things online to distract us. A simple thing that I'll tell you about, if you start seeing Instagram Reels, it's a distraction where you're just scrolling up and 25 minutes is done already. So how do you kind of come back onto your track and not get distracted, Swamiji? That's the biggest problem today youth face.
Yeah. See, anything that we enjoy, we will get distracted by that.
Yeah.
Right? Therefore, one thing that we have to do, and especially, when we had even school children, teenagers, they would come up to me, I can't concentrate on my studies. Swamiji, of course, ambitious they are. It's not that they don't have that ambition. They're good also in their studies. So especially in our Chinmaya International Residential School, these are very, dedicated, good value children. But everybody's mind has got some distraction or the other due to our likes, dislikes, desires, or even what keeps, constantly the stimuli that comes to us through the senses. And therefore, it is at that teenage age, whatever disciplines we create for ourselves. See, one is when we grow up, schools, whatever, parents put a discipline. It is my life, first of all, I must understand. It is my eyes that are getting affected. It's my mind that is getting affected. So I must create a discipline for myself. And whatever discipline we create for ourselves during our youth days will remain with us for life. Childhood gives us that foundation. Yeah? So always we have to see, who doesn't get distracted? Everybody gets distracted by something or the other, even if it's food, even something as innocent as, getting a promotion and all that. As Prasanna was saying that, keep focus as to what you want, as you also did, that something or the other can distract us. Yeah? If it is in line with my goal or doesn't harm me from reaching my goal, and it's not harming anyone or not causing any addictions, etc. to me, then it's okay to have little bit of
Yeah.
entertainment, etc. in life. But at the same time, if it takes me away from my goal, from my duties, takes me away from my main purpose, then I must have the strength to say no. And to bring my mind back to where I want it to be.
So self-awareness and
Self-mastery.
It's very, very
Self-mastery.
important.
Willpower should be there.
We should be there.
And the earlier in life we create it, we won't get too far into things where once they become addictions, you can't control yourself. It takes control over you.
It takes control. Dr. Radhakrishnan, another thing that India is facing today is about mental health. And corporates are kind of giving so much importance to it. I think now companies have internal counselors and a lot of help basically. So today when you go and meet people, if somebody is not okay mentally, what do you think youths today should be actually doing it? They're scared to talk to the parents, still a taboo. Going and seeing a counselor is not cheap in India. We talk about seeking mental health, but it's not everybody's cup of tea. So what do you advise people who are going through low mental health?
You'll be surprised. I was reading the complete works of Swami Vivekananda. He mentioned about mental health becoming India's biggest problem.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was surprised, and I reread those chapters and saying that it's a pattern in every developed country.
Interesting.
It's a very interesting insight I got. Imagine almost 100 years ago,
My God.
he's telling that every country that he was a globetrotter like Swamiji, and he's saying, first we survive with the basics, or we struggle for the basic survival. Roti, kapda, makan.
Correct.
Then you have a career job, and then the whole nation will have to address, the leaders have to address mental health problems. And he gave a solution then. Only spirituality can save you.
Wow.
And specifically talking about India, I'm surprised we have the solution.
We have it. Yeah.
And what we are having is nothing wrong. We should take the best from the West. So what you're saying, the psychologists are more like a trained professionals in the field. And as a professional, you need to make your money and career out of it. So economically, it may become costly. But maybe the solution to your mental health problem could be a Dadi Ma Ka Nuska. So maybe she can give you a tip. Maybe it's spiritual gurus. And I always say to the youth, we are a country which is overloaded with mentors. Mentors are not a problem. Look at the number of retired people we have with so much wisdom.
Experiences.
Look at the number of saints and sages we have, living saints and sages and gurus. Look at the literature.
Correct.
So sometimes the mental health problem need not be only clinically addressed. That's one method and we need to do it. Like if you have an accident, you need to go to the hospital. So yes, the mental health experts, psychologists, brain scientists are playing a major role in India. And I know since I'm with the universities, the choice of the youth also is now shifting. Say, I want to be a psychologist.
Oh,
Yeah.
In fact, you don't get admission in psychology courses. That's the demand.
Wow.
Therefore, they see the problem and there's a solution coming in. But I would say, look at alternative solutions.
Correct.
Maybe it's right in your family, inside your, library. And I have seen this happening that yes, mental health will be a problem, but fortunately, our great ancient rishis have a solution for it.
And just look around. The youth just needs to look around and there are answers around us, from scriptures to literature to mentors to our own family members who have lived experiences like you said, right? Swamiji, you do make it happen. That's something that people look forward to when you do it annually. And a lot of youth come there. The whole idea is how can you make something happen? And through that journey, I'm sure it's mentally very rejuvenating. It kind of deblocks a lot of things. Mental health is all about, I don't want to get up from bed. I don't want to talk to anybody today. I don't want to go out today. I don't want to study. I don't want to do such. So how has been your experience doing Make It Happen? And you keep meeting so many people and it's a beautiful journey of taking them from A to B.
See, Make It Happen I conceived of with the subtle things that Puja Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda used to say, particularly from the Bhagavad Gita. It was all about mindset. How you change your thinking and your world changes. Very, very powerful statement. A very, very powerful, See, the world that you experience, we are all experiencing the same world, but we see it differently. How do we react to that world? What are the thoughts we form into our minds? What are the self-limiting beliefs that we create for ourselves with what people say to us or what we imagine also. So to work with that, and it was not made only for the youth, though of course youth are the ones who are the most enthusiastic to make things happen in their life. But I would say that we have from teenagers to someone who's 85.
Oh my God.
And it's not only about just career or relationships. Even spiritual students, we talk about nirvana, we talk about realization, we talk about a happy life always, but do we really believe in it?
Yeah.
Are we convinced of it? We say we are. People say that we want to reach high goals, but are we really wanting that?
Yeah.
Are we clear about our purpose? We do discuss a lot about purpose. We are clear about our purpose, then only our thoughts will be of conviction. So to find your purpose, to set your goals according to your purpose, and know how to make it happen. And very often it's just the shift of your thinking.
Wow.
So as we were talking about mental health, it is the cultural values. And we all know what are values.
Absolutely.
It's there in every religion of the world. Yeah. It is there in every culture of the world. Every company, even corporate world, talks about these values. We had called some, industrialists and entrepreneurs to come and give their advice as to what they would want from our university. As we know, we have our Chinmaya Vishwavidyapeeth, that is our Chinmaya University, completely modern university, offering as many courses as possible, and including psychology. So all that, one thing, we thought that they will tell us that, no, we want for placement and all that, we need these subjects. Invariably, the whole discussion changed to, there is no consistency, there is no loyalty, there is no, commitment. Yeah. There's no clarity.
Clarity, correct.
And if that we can give, besides the skills and all that which are important, correct, which is the basic, that what are the value systems that we give them? And opportunity to develop that value system, which comes through family upbringing, which comes through culture. That's why, like Swami Vivekananda, Puja Gurudev actually thought about it, and therefore the Bal Vihars, the Yuva Kendras, that we have, the study groups.
To enable them at a very young age.
To enable them at a very young age, that in childhood they must get samskaras. Samskaras means values, and develop their virtues.
Right.
In youth, there must be inquiry. And inquiry not to defy, but to know and to learn.
Absolutely.
And at an elderly age or adulthood, what can I, with what I have gained, become a positive contributor to society?
Right.
And the last stage of life, go fulfilled.
Wow.
Aisi karni kar chalo, hum hase. And the world pines for you, as Kabir Das ji has said.
Correct.
So these are the important things in our upbringing. And each thing we develop at a certain stage, just like we are through neuroscience and all, we learn that speaking skills or language skills. Same way, virtues are developed in the span of the first 10 years of your life. All of us at some period of time might be distracted by some way. But I know what kept me away from all this, even as a teenager, as a youngster, is my value systems that I got in my upbringing.
Correct.
Yeah. So these are the things that are required very much. So the journey starts early. But when we come to that stage, now we have to say that if the first stage is lost, what do we do?
Correct.
Then there is no perfect cure, but definitely we have to find solutions.
Yeah. So generally, youth is a very complex word, complex subject, complex matter. In 45 minutes, we'll not be able to address the entire problem of youth, but It's been a great eye-opener with each of you talking your perspective about youth, telling what from different industries that each of you are. Lastly, I just want to ask about definitions that youth look for. Quick one questions, I want to get your perspectives on it. We'll start with you, Dr. Radhakrishnan. What is your definition of success?
Success is not popularity.
True.
Youth go, as you rightly pointed out, if you want to be popular, be on Instagram.
Yeah.
So there is a misconception that the number of likes, followers.
Yeah.
Success is a very big word for me. In fact, for me specifically, the word is impact. You may do a small thing, and you may change just one life, and you can be happy about it.
True.
You may have 1,000 followers or 1,000,000 likes, but you don't even change because they say, oh, you are a hypocrite. Screen में कुछ दिखता है, अंदर से कुछ और है. So for me, success is probably much beyond what you think is just about following and popularity.
Swamiji, definition of peace versus happiness.
Peace and happiness actually are synonyms. Yeah. You cannot say that I'm very peaceful but I'm not happy. And you cannot say I'm very happy but agitated.
True.
Yeah. Yeah.
True.
So peace and happiness go together.
Wonderful.
Shanti and Anand are together. And that's the nature of the self. And that's why we seek it in everything. And if we really try to understand what is the purpose is actually to find ourselves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you were saying something.
I was just saying that I was being very clever and trying to prepare an answer for success, not knowing they will change the question. So I failed.
What I wanted to ask you is define failure for you.
Oh. Thank you. In fact, I feel that's a better question for me.
Because 99.99% fail.
Yes.
0.11% succeed.
So I think failure is very beautiful, and if depending on the first failure of the child, how the parents reacted to the child can be destroyed for life or be set up for success. If my child drops one glass by mistake, I'm like, oh my God, how did you do that? And this pandemonium, the guy will never touch the glass again.
Yeah.
You actually destroy a child. So if you see, when I interact with kids, if you see a child is so afraid of making mistakes, you know that he has made mistakes and he or she has been destroyed.
For life.
If you cannot make mistakes, that means you're dead. When you move, you are going to make mistakes. So I think failure is very important. Failure is very beautiful. And failure is the path to success. Wow. You are going to fail. You'll keep on, as a child, you're going to drop 100 times. Then the 101st time you'll walk. So it is, thank you for asking me this question, because I think failure has to be celebrated. And we all have to be taught how to fail. We should not be taught how to succeed. We should be taught how to fail.
And how
because
to
that's
deal with
99% of...
And how to deal with failure.
Exactly. So how can I fail beautifully?
Learn from it.
That is what I need to learn.
Yeah.
I should not learn how to succeed, because that success will come automatically out of this. If for example, I have made a bad film and I have failed or whatever it is, now I need to fail beautifully. How do I fail beautifully? No, but failure is ugly. No, you can fail beautifully.
Yeah.
You can give the biggest flop in your career and just come back, like Shah Rukh did it with Pathaan.
Yeah.
So these are, like when you look at even in the film industry, people are written off. How do the legends stay for 40 years?
Yeah.
Because they fail beautifully.
Wow.
Very important thing in failure is, a project might fail.
Yeah.
But never label yourself as a failure.
Wow.
So you don't
Yes.
fail. It's something that fails and you learn from it.
Yes.
Beautiful.
You are not a failure. That thought, if it comes to you, you will keep on failing.
I think like a scientist, like an experiment
Yeah,
fails.
you keep experimenting and learning from it.
No, but that in the school you are taught Edison failed 999 times and he succeeded. Now by heart this, mug it up and write it properly.
But you
otherwise you
can't
are a failure. So if the child writes 998, you are a failure. So everyone has gyan, but we don't embody it.
Correct.
So bichara wo banda is telling, he'll come and tell that, teacher, I heard a story, Einstein failed 900 times. Wrong, it was Edison.
Yeah.
He understood the spirit of that, na?
Correct.
So there itself he'll be like, abhi mujhe Einstein bhi nahi chahiye, Edison bhi nahi chahiye, kuch nahi chahiye, I'll go to video game. So I think it is the way that's why I'm saying, like Swamiji so beautifully said, you are not a failure.
You are not a failure.
You are a success. I'll tell you why. Because you After failure also, you're woken up the next day and said, okay guys, let's find out how we failed.
Get up and
You tried.
Yeah, a captain like cricket, like Dhoni, you fail, yeah. Sachin can hit a duck. Next day he says, okay, now how do I? So automatically you are a hero. In fact, failure is, like Swamiji said, is an inevitable part of
your journey.
But don't feel like a failure. I think that was beautiful.
That's very beautifully said. You're not a failure.
Never tell your children, or teachers should tell their students that you are a failure. And never should you ever yourself think that you are a failure.
Absolutely.
That's the most important thing.
Absolutely. Okay, lastly, to wind up the roundtable, it has been a great conversation about youth. As we were talking off camera, an hour is not enough to talk about the problems of youth or celebrate youth, right? There's so much more that we can do. But I want to wind up by asking each of you to give one message to a person, a guy or a girl watching this. What would you want to say? The person might be in the worst of his phase, best of his phase, failure, success. But if somebody is watching today, what is the message, Dr. Radhakrishnan, that you want to give?
One liner. Never fight a battle alone. Take some friends along.
Wow. So seek help. You know, you're not alone in this world.
Arjuna won it because of Krishna, right? So never ever think that it's a lonely journey.
Right.
It is a journey which is about yourself, but you can have companions, guide, mentors with you.
Absolutely. Prasanna, one message to all the youngsters watching this.
I mean, this message is to the youngster in me also.
Sure.
So I would just say that if in all this billions and billions of whatever planets or whatever cosmic mass, if there is life on Earth, and in that billion of you're born, there must be a very good reason why you're born.
So you're born, you're there for a reason, just enjoy
There
it.
must be a reason why you're born. You can't be a waste of. You know, there must be a reason, and the reason is you. You are special. You are extremely special. Whoever you are, there's a reason why you're born in this vast vacuum of nothingness or whatever.
Right.
There's a reason why you were created,
Absolutely.
and you are beautiful. You are special. You are unique. I mean, that itself is success. Whatever. I mean, you are created. Why should you look at others and compare? I mean, you are you. I mean, I think that is very important to remind myself, the youth in me also. When I feel down and I feel, this is what I tell myself, that no, there's a reason why you're born. You're already special.
True. Swamiji, one message to youth.
So what they said is what you have to say. When you come last, you know that you don't have anything to say. So one thing is important is that have faith in the wisdom of the higher. Huh? That each one of us is unique, and we have a unique place in this universe. And if you were not useful to this universe, you would be redundant. You would not be there. So know that you have a special place, and always keep that confidence.
And the word faith that you used, Swamiji, is so good, because hope is something that you think it might happen. Faith is something that you know it will happen. You know, as you say, faith is the most important thing for all of us. Beautiful, to kind of hear each of your perspectives. I'm sure people watching this will take so many things back. I would suggest all of you to have a pen and a paper and write down a couple of things so that you can go back and incorporate in your life. But thank you to each of you to join this roundtable. I had a great time talking about it.
You're a wonderful host.
Thank you. Thank you. But thank you, Dr. Radhakrishnan. Swamiji, always a pleasure talking to you. And this is great talking in a form of a round table. And Prasanna, thank you so much for being on the show.
I learned a lot today.
And we all learned a lot from each other. And I'm so happy to see all of you all doing so well in your fields and living the values, the knowledge that you all have received, and so effectively communicating to people through your different professions, through your different roles that you're playing in life, including as parents. So it's delightful to see all this, and I invoke the blessings of the divine on all of us and to all the youth.
All the youth watching this, absolutely. And like I always do, end the show with a selfie. It's #selfie world to commemorate this moment. So let's do a selfie.
Sure.